Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to discuss another head and neck space infection, that is the retropharyngeal space and retropharyngeal abscess. First, retropharyngeal abscess. The retropharyngeal space is a potential space of the head and neck bounded by the buccopharyngeal fascia anteriorly and the alar fascia posteriorly. It contains the retropharyngeal lymph nodes. Because serious infections of the teeth can spread down this space into the posterior mediastinum, it is often confused with the danger space. The danger space is actually between the alar fascia and the prevertebral fascia and extends from the cranial base above to the level of the diaphragm below. Now you can see here, this is the posterior pharyngeal wall covered outside by the buccopharyngeal fascia. And this is the prevertebral fascia. In the center, both these two fascia, they are condensed to form the pharyngeal raphe. This is the vertebral body and this is the pharynx. This is the anterior side and this is the posterior side. And these are the some of the lymph nodes which are present in the retropharyngeal space. Retropharyngeal abscess. It is the collection of pus behind the posterior wall of the pharynx. It is of two types, acute retropharyngeal abscess and chronic retropharyngeal abscess. First, we will discuss the acute retropharyngeal abscess. Acute suppurative inflammation of the retropharyngeal lymph nodes is known as acute retropharyngeal abscess. The etiology of this abscess is that it almost always occurs in young children. The age range is from 3 months to 3 years. Usually, the local septic focus in the area of drainage of these lymph nodes is seen, and the causative agent in this abscess is the Staph aureus. Symptomatology. The symptoms can be general or local. The general symptoms are fever, anorexia, nausea, vomiting, and the local symptoms are dysphagia, change of voice or cry, dyspnea. And if we examine the patient will have, in most of the occasions, he will have open mouth. There will be a swelling in the throat. The characteristics of the swelling in the throat will be that the swelling is projecting from behind the posterior wall of the oropharynx. It is on one side of the midline and it is rounded, smooth, red, soft, warm, and tender swelling. The differential diagnosis is it should be differentiated from Kinsey, chronic retropharyngeal abscess, and parapharyngeal abscess. Complications which can arise due to this acute retropharyngeal abscess are general complications and local complications. In general complications, the patient may develop bacteremia, septicemia, and pyemia. In local complications, the patient may have aspiration pneumonia, lung abscess, laryngeal edema, and parapharyngeal abscess. Treatment for acute retropharyngeal abscess is antibiotics, analgesics, antipyretics, and incision and drainage of the abscess. The patient should not be surgical incision should not be given under general anesthesia because the endotracheal intubation may cause injury to the abscess, leading to rupture of the abscess, and the patient may inhale and the patient may die. Therefore, the incision and drainage is usually done under local anesthesia through the oral route. Now, in this case, you can see that this is the vertebra and this is the posterior wall of the pharynx, and this is the lymph node which after suppuration has become abscess in the form of acute retropharyngeal abscess, because this is the midline raphe, pharyngeal raphe, Because this swelling is on one side of the midline raphe, therefore it will cause bulging in the posterior pharyngeal wall to one side. It is not in the center. Now this is the X-rays of cervical region, lateral view, showing you the vertebral column, and this is the huge abscess which has developed in the retropharyngeal space. This is the air fluid level here. This is the air produced by the bacteria which have produced the abscess, and this huge abscess is causing compromise of the respiratory tract as well. This is the axial view of the CT scan of the retropharyngeal abscess, showing you the abscess here in this area, indicated by the green arrow. And this is the airway, which is indicated by the red arrow. The next is the chronic retropharyngeal abscess. Chronic retropharyngeal abscess means cold abscess formation and presenting behind the posterior wall of the pharynx. Etiology is usually almost always due to tuberculosis of the cervical spine. Pathology is that there is formation of cold abscess in the cervical vertebral column, pushing into the pharynx from behind its posterior wall and carrying the prevertebral muscles and fascia before it. Since the collection does not encounter the pharyngeal raphe, it presents in the midline. Symptoms in chronic retropharyngeal abscess are evening fever, loss of appetite, pain in the neck, limitation of neck movements, dysphagia, dysphonia, and dyspnea. Signs on examination: the swelling will be seen in the pharynx, presenting behind the posterior wall in the midline, which is pale, smooth, and soft. And if we examine the lymph nodes, the cervical lymphadenopathy will also be observed. Investigations: usually we need complete blood examination, complete urine examination, SHSPA view to rule out pulmonary tuberculosis, and we also need X-ray cervical spine, KPN lateral view to rule out any uh, lesion of the cervical vertebrae. Sputum for acid fast bacilli, Mounty test may be advised, and CT scan of head and neck is mandatory to see the abscess. Treatment is anti-tuberculosis treatment, and then secondly, the most important is the incision and draining of the abscess to the neck if required. Now you can see here, this is the vertebra, this is the posterior pharyngeal wall, and this abscess which has formed there in the retropharyngeal space, it has pushed the posterior pharyngeal wall anteriorly in the midline. This is cervical vertebra, this is the abscess, and you can see the black arrows denoting the erosion of the cervical vertebra. And you can see there is a straightening of the cervical spine as well due to spasm of the neck muscles. This is the same X-ray which has been zoomed. And this is the retropharyngeal cold abscess seen on the CT scan of the patient. The next, parapharyngeal abscess. Parapharyngeal space, it's a connective tissue space lateral to the nasopharynx and oropharynx, extending from the base of the skull to the hide bone. Contents are internal carotid artery, internal jugular vein, last four cranial nerves, cervical sympathetic chain, deep cervical lymph nodes. These are the contents which are seen in the parapharyngeal space. Compartments. Styloid process and the muscles attached to it divide the parapharyngeal space into two compartments: anterior compartment and posterior compartment. Anterior compartment is related to tonsillar fossa medially and medial pterygoid muscle laterally. whereas posterior compartment is related to lateral pharyngeal wall medially and parotid gland laterally. You can see here, this is the coronal section of the tissues from the at the level of the parapharyngeal abscess, parapharyngeal space rather, and you can see this is the one parapharyngeal space and this is the left parapharyngeal space, and this is the representation of the diagrammatic representation of the parapharyngeal abscess. This is the posterior pharyngeal wall, this is the prevertebral muscles, and this is the palatine tonsils. This is the peritonsillar abscess, which may burst into the parapharyngeal space leading to parapharyngeal abscess. Similarly, sometimes retropharyngeal abscess may burst into the parapharyngeal space leading to parapharyngeal abscess. This is again the diagram showing you the retropharyngeal abscess, Kinsey, and then these two may burst into parapharyngeal space leading to forming the parapharyngeal abscess. This is the detailed review of the uh, retropharyngeal space and its abscess diagrammatically. This outline of the parapharyngeal space on the face is that this is the front, this is the back. Anterior compartment, this is the posterior compartment of the parapharyngeal space and parapharyngeal abscess. This is the actual view showing you the left parapharyngeal abscess. This is the abscess, this is the tonsil, and this is the uvula. This is the similar patient with the CT scan showing abscess on the left side. So parapharyngeal abscess is a collection of pus in the parapharyngeal space. Etiology. There are different types of etiologies which may lead to formation of parapharyngeal abscess. For example, parapharyngeal abscess may be the result of pharyngeal infections. For example, acute or chronic tonsillitis, Kinsey, adenoiditis. Then dental infection sometimes may give rise to parapharyngeal abscess, usually from the lower last molar tooth. Ear infections, for example, Bizzole abscess, petrositis, other space infections or abscesses, for example, infection of the parotid gland, infection of the retropharyngeal abscess, lymph nodes leading to retropharyngeal abscess and then converting into parapharyngeal abscess. Similarly, submandibular abscess may sometimes give rise to parapharyngeal abscess. External trauma to the parapharyngeal space may lead to parapharyngeal abscess. For example, penetrating injuries of the neck, injection of the local anesthetic for mandibular nerve block. These may result in parapharyngeal abscess sometimes. Clinical features. These depend upon the compartment involved. If the anterior compartment is involved, the patient will have medialization of the palatine tonsil and tonsillar fossa. He will have trismus due to spasm of the medial pterygoid muscle and external neck swelling behind the angle of jaw, and the patient will have podinophagia as well. Posterior compartment, if involved, then the patient will have swelling of the pharynx behind the posterior tonsillar fossa, posterior tonsillar pillar. Then the patient will also have paralysis of cranial nerves 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, and therefore paralysis of the sympathetic chain as well. Similarly, the patient will have clinical features of all these nerves and sympathetic chain paralysis will be seen in the patient. Swelling of the parotid gland and the minimum trismus or tonsillar medullaris is seen in case of posterior compartment involvement. Clinical features common to both compartments. These features are fever, rhinophagia, sore throat, torticollis due to spasm of the perivertebral muscles, and signs of toxemia. Complications which may occur due to parapharyngeal abscess are respiratory obstruction due to edema of the larynx, thrombophlebitis of jugular vein with septicemia, spread of infection to the retropharyngeal space with abscess formation, spread of infection to the mediastinum along the carotid space, and so mediastinitis will result, erosion of the carotid artery with fatal hemorrhage and death of the patient. Diagnosis: X-ray soft tissue neck, AP view and lateral view, CT scan of the neck, axial view and coronal views, aspiration of the pus with wide bore needle is confirmatory if pus is aspirated. Treatment is antibiotics, analgesics, insulin and drainage under general anesthesia through the horizontal skin crease incision made below the angle of the jaw. And the patient may need tracheostomy if he develops respiratory distress or severe trismus. Parapharyngeal abscess seen actually in the patient when we open the mouth, and the CT scan showing abscess on axial view. This is CT scan parapharyngeal abscess on the right side. This is CT scan parapharyngeal abscess with medial extension to the retropharyngeal space on the left side. Thank you so much.